Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Victor and welcome to Vracc Studio. I have been away from Vracc Studio and I know I haven't been very consistent with my content. I've tried some approaches to Vracc Studio, but it wasn't what I actually was expecting, and the quality of the content and the engagement between me as a viewer and the content wasn't really good. So I thought it wasn't really going to be that great for you guys. So I decided to step back for a while and develop uh, a series of contents. This is going to be a series of online courses. I am about to release the first one, and these courses are going to be about 3D modeling and 3D production in general. So I'm going to be covering sculpting, modeling, all the basics for 3D production. Now, these are going to be online courses that are going to be available at VracCstudio.com. So you might probably be seeing VracCstudio.com in your screen, but it's also in the description below. Now, something that's really, really important about this series of content, I'm going to be creating more videos to explain to you guys who only speak English, but I am already releasing the first course in Portuguese, and I will be releasing the first course in English very soon. I am recording it, but I'm also a college student for game development and game design, so it's a little bit too much. I'm starting a new phase in my life, and I wanted to translate that to Vrec Studio because I didn't want it to actually abandon the concept. So uh, the series is going to be focusing on the basics of 3D modeling, 3D production, and the goal with this is to actually empower you guys that want to learn 3D to work with every software available. So you're going to learn the theory behind 3D, the basics, obviously. It's very complex and there's a lot of it. So I'm going to be covering the basics, and you're going to learn how to apply those theories with practical exercises. So I'm going to actually be producing a model with you guys live. So I'm going to hit record and I'm going to be recording myself modeling and teaching you guys about how to apply the theory on a program. Now we're going to be using Blender, but I'm always going to be reminding you guys that you can actually use everything that you're seeing on another software, and I'm going to teach you guys how to actually transport that theory into other softwares. So that's going to be really cool. It was really fun to make the Portuguese version, and I'm really having a blast making the English version. But we have extended ourselves, but this is not the goal for today. Today is about game dev. Now, I am starting this devlog ish because one of my professors, in fact, my programming professor, gave me a lot of ideas in my last class, which was last Wednesday. So I had an actual idea to make a bullet hell shooter. Um, I'm I know a little bit about logical structure and programming logic, but I have no idea how to actually program, and I'm learning that with this professor. So she actually introduced us to Construct 3, and I already knew about Construct 3. I already tried to dive into Construct 3, but she actually made me realize that it wasn't that hard, that I actually knew a lot more than I thought I did. So I started designing a game, and I'm going to actually show you guys what I have so far in the game development and design. But I also wanted to show you guys the design for the first sprite of the game, which is a ship. So let's get into it. So let me actually hide this, and let's go a little bit slower. Now, I have here the folder with the actual PSDs and work in progress PNGs. I have actually shared the initial designs with my colleagues and my friends in the class because I wanted their opinion on it. But what I want to actually show you guys before that is my text document. Where is it? There we go. Uh, don't mind the actual name yet. Let me show you guys here. Okay. So I'm still working on naming, and I'm still working on what I'm going to have for the lore and stuff like that. But my goal with this Devlog series or Studentlog series is to actually show people that want to learn game dev how I'm learning game dev. I've played video games forever, and I actually got into digital arts because I wanted to work with game dev. Now, over the years, I have actually uh, decided not to pursue that, but due to certain things that happened lately, I had to choose a college course, and I decided to choose game dev because the opportunities are just better, especially where I live, which is Brazil. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I knew I had to do was a game dev document. Now, I've learned about game dev document in my first college class in game design, and I just started classes. I'm in the third week of classes, but I don't like to leave things behind. So I had to start a lot of projects, and then the first projects from the professors started to come in, and then I went from one to the other to the other, and right now I have the knowledge to apply and get to what you're seeing right now. So it didn't came out of the blue, and I didn't already knew how to organize myself this way. I just learned about it. So don't think that, wow, he does magic. No, I don't. That's my goal with this devlog series or student log. So let's call it student log series. That's a good name. So the first thing I decided to do was the GDD, or the game design document. And I have no clue what a GDD actually looks like. I haven't been able to find one so I can take a look. And my professor said I had to wait before he actually presented one for the entire class. So I'm kind of in uncharted waters here. So the first thing I decided to introduce in the document was a list of abbreviations for certain, let's say, uh, naming systems that I wanted to use to make sure that I could write a little bit faster. So it's this right here. It's nothing uh, crazy. It's usually the obvious stuff. I'm going to actually introduce more probably, but it's just so I can actually get around the document and writing a little bit faster. Okay. So next, I had to describe the game. And this is something that I was doing wrong. I would try to design the feel of the game first, and then design the player sprite or player character, and then I would go and describe the game. Now, describing it first actually helped a lot, and that's something I have recently learned. So next I went on to decide what kind of graphics I would want, and then the first thing I knew is I wanted to do pre-rendered 3D graphics, just because I'm not a 2D artist, I am a 3D artist. So I am a big fan of Donkey Kong Country on the Super NES, and I had to do it. Is it Super NES or the original NES? I think it's the original NES. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. So the first thing I actually introduced here was this thing here, right? And then I went on to player mechanics, and I actually listed everything that you guys are seeing right here, the movement, shooting mechanics, and I started to actually follow my professor's guideline to actually introduce every piece of mechanic that I could think of. So if I could think about it, and if I thought that it was going to the game, I had to write it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to uh, push myself into organizing my projects the right way, right? So I described all of these mechanics. There's probably gonna be more, but this is where I'm. This is where I am right now. Then after I did this, the player mechanics, I went back into graphics description because I decided that I was going to make the game full HD. So I put it the general graphics quality, and then I went on to say that I was going to use only high definition images and video files. Next, I did the same thing here I did for the enemy mechanics, and then I started to think about the assets. Now, to think about the assets, I went on and searched for a few bullet hell shooters. I watched some gameplays on YouTube. I'm not really a big fan of bullet hell shooters, actually, but this is where I am right now. I have enough knowledge to make a bullet hell shooter, so I'm going to make a bullet hell shooter. I'm trying to follow the instructions that all the professors are giving to me and to the rest of the class. So, after watching about 2-3 hours of gameplay of various bullet hell shooters, old, new, successful failures, I went on to start listing the assets that I thought I would need. So, the sprite animations and to every direction that I have to move, I described everything. Taking damage, I decided that I was going to do a regeneration animation. Don't know what the animation is going to be yet, but I know I want one. So there it is. Now, for the enemy, I had to think a little bit differently because, and that's something that I found best. I'm going to have a big game, right? I don't want to do just one level. But for now, I can only do one level. So what did I think? Well, this game, maybe it's not just a bullet hell shooter. Maybe there are segments that are played like a bullet hell shooter. So what do I need to do about the enemies? I know that the player is going to have a specific ship, and then maybe by the end of the semester, with the classes coming to an end and I need to make a full game, maybe I can introduce some skins or something like that. But with the enemies, I need to do at least 2 or 3 levels so that I can call it a game. So I listed the common assets that I would use to every enemy, and then as I design the rest of the game, I can list specific assets for specific enemies. So that's the approach that I'm getting to, and it's, in my opinion, it's what I actually found to be more organized. I don't know if that's what everyone does, but this is where I'm going towards. So this is what I have for now. And then I did the same thing with level assets. And I actually stopped here because I wanted to create the at least the player assets, and I wanted to start programming the game so I can have the feel of how it's going to go. So from here, which was done yesterday, I actually went on to design the player ship. Now, this is where things get interesting for today. Um, I actually did this today, and I was in class, and it was a very uh, easygoing class and very theoretical. So I decided, oh, what the hell? I'm going to sketch a few ideas for the ship. Now, I usually, the ideas come into my mind very specific, and it was the case for this ship at first. So I actually sketched in my sketchbook. This would be the ship, and I thought, well, maybe I could do some secondary ships just for attack. Maybe I can have a mechanic where I push a button and they come, and then there's a cooldown situation, and they have to go out of the screen. So I messed up with the ideas, and I got into what you're seeing right here. Now, after class, because I was watching class, I wasn't actually just doing that and pretending I was listening to the explanations. After class, I went on Photoshop, and I actually uh, used that scan. I lost the file for these first three sketches, but I actually had taken a render already, so I brought it here. But I did a sketch beneath that original sketch, and I got to this right here, and I said, well, the shape's a little off, and with the world today, maybe someone might think that this overall shape here is a little bit, I don't know, off. It's maybe even offensive. So I decided to mess around with a more oval, more circular shape, and I got to this design right here. Uh, I got satisfied with it, but I still didn't know if I wanted these two turrets here, or if I wanted the actual side ships, so that I can do a different mechanic. Maybe this could make the game a little bit more hard, more difficult oriented. So what I did was I rendered, I exported this bit here and showed to my classmates and asked, hey, maybe you can help me out. I got a few designs here. I'm doing game for the professor's class, programming, and I don't know what to do. I have this three designs. One is a little bit off, maybe a little bit offensive. The other one I like, but I don't know if I do side ships or not. At the end of the day, I wanted to do one singular ship, and I received answers from about three colleagues. It's a little bit late already, and they agreed with me that singular ship would be better. So this is where I'm going for now. And once I did that, I started to detail the ship a little bit more, and I decided that I needed something a little bit more aerodynamic or something like that. it was too big and it was uh, too childish for my taste. So I started messing up with the shape and I got to this one, and I was extremely satisfied with the overall shape. Now, uh, what I what I have to do, because I can't animate in 2D, what I have to do is I need to model this ship in 3D. I need to export this image that you guys are seeing in your screen, and I need to have that as a reference. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I need to have this as a reference so that I can actually model the ship. So once I decided on the design and the shape, I went on to draw the entire ship piece by piece so that I could actually split and get to this right here. Once I did that, I started thinking about colors, and then I got to this right here. Now, I haven't modeled yet. I honestly haven't. I stopped and I knew I had to do the devlog. I knew this was going to be important, if not for you guys, for me. The overall idea for the game, I don't know how I'm going to go after I finish at least one level, right? But the overall idea is that the ship travels between universes. This allows me to change the ship's skin uh, between levels, and this allows me to actually design different enemies and different projectiles and all of that for the game. This gives me more diversity to the game. I'm not a programmer, at least not yet. So what I want to do is I want to find ways to be creative and innovative in a design kind of way. So more designs in the components of the game are going to be key, at least for now, for me. Wow, I talked a lot. Wow. Okay, so this is it for today. Thanks for watching. I promise the courses are coming. So if you want to learn 3D, and if you want to learn 3D specifically to use in any application, stay tuned at VictoR+Autism+riCCo. Stay tuned at my Instagram and Facebook accounts. Every link is going to be in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to VictoR if you haven't yet. Like the video if you enjoy it. And if you have a comment, I don't know, maybe a suggestion or a complaint, or just want to say I love you, I hate you, doesn't matter. Just leave a comment below and I will try and read it and answer it. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.